Everybody, we're now on television.
All right, good to know.
And we have a good agenda today, and it's the start of our summer. Once we're off this one, I don't think we have another one till September. So it's the only break we get. We have one less in August. So.
Is your phone on?
Someone's cell phone.
Okay, phones are off, everybody. Otherwise, we get static. Okay. Well, thanks. And so I'll call the meeting to order. Any disclosure, any pecuniary interest, conflict of interest. I'm going to make that change. I think we can put that. Can we do that in 158 or whatever the bill is? Take that name of. Has anybody got any conflict of interest? None. Okay.
Pecuniary interest?
Or pecuniary interest, whatever that means. Minutes of the previous meeting. Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the minutes of the July 18, 2017 council may be approved. All in favor? Great. Additional items. First of all, we'll move into moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. The Town of Minto Council convenes in a committee of the whole. All in favor? Great. I'm assuming I can't see you back there on your.
I'll get less comfortable.
Additional items.
Oh, yes.
Ron has one. I have one. Let's just say everybody has one, and then if you don't have one, that's right. Okay. No public meetings. Resolution moving into council. We did that. We did that one already. Delegations. And this is what I didn't want a lot of pressure on, but this is our big moment that you're our headline today. So come up and give us a good story of our youth.
Is that our biography?
Yeah. No.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe introduce
ourselves.
Yeah.
You can start.
Okay, I'll go first.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here today. Gabby and I are here to speak about a project that we worked on really since the beginning of the school year until June, called The Truth About Youth. And it was an initiative between youth and seniors in the community, supporting seniors. And the name for the program was actually something that a student had come up with, who said people don't know the truth about youth. Mm-hmm. They think that we're bad news and that we don't want to help out, but we do, and we're good people. And especially the students that we worked with on this project run into that sort of stigma a lot. So I think it was a really great name. And Gabby, right away she caught on that was a really catchy name for the project. So
my name is, I'll introduce ourselves, I guess. So my name is Gabby Rockley. I am the Community Youth Resiliency Worker for all of Northern Wellington County. And this is Helen Edwards from the Senior Center for Excellence.
Right. That's
now where's my slideshow? There. So you can go to the next.
Do you want to pick that one up, Gabby, and then
Sure.
You can talk right there. Sometimes you don't pick up your voice, and you want everybody to hear it.
And thousands are watching us.
I know. I'm like, this is on TV. Like, I did not know that. So, okay. So, so like Helen said, the project is called The Truth About Youth. And it really came together probably last year. Helen and I were thinking, I work with the youth, she works with seniors. How do we kind of connect these two different populations together? Because a lot of the time they're very isolated, they're kind of in their own bubbles, but we really wanted to find a way to connect them. And so basically what I've been finding actually is with our alternative education classes. So for those of you that don't really know that much about the school system, these are your kids that really struggle with the mainstream school system. They maybe mental health, addictions, family breakdown. They have a lot of struggles fitting into that 8:30 to 3 or whatever schedule. So they're on a separate schedule. They do different hands-on learning and that type of thing. And so we really wanted to find ways that they could be more involved in their community, for them to develop new skills that they might not have, things that they can put on their resume, develop more self-confidence. And so we started with a very simple project last year. It was a leaf cleanup day. And so what we did was we connected with the high school in Mount Forest, Wellington Heights, and we got, their alt ed class and then a geography class to come out, and they raked leaves for seniors. And it was 2.5 hours in the morning, and they raked leaves at 21 different homes that day, which was amazing. Like, I could not believe that they did all that. And it was just, I just get goosebumps when I talk about it, because and that's a picture there of some of the seniors that they had raked for, and then some of the kids, and one of the ladies baked cookies for them, so they got to kind of talk
So
to
that's
her.
a couple in Mount Forest, and that's actually a lady that had baked some cookies for the team that I was on. And the kids were so appreciative that someone had baked them cookies, and they really got to see the impact that they were having on the seniors. And it sounds somewhat simple to arrange a leaf cleaning day, but those simple events actually do take a lot of coordination and a lot of time. And one great thing was that we had Ian Turner, who had these connections within the school, who's a retired school teacher, and that really helped us to connect with the teachers that were interested in helping out with this project. So we've already talked a little bit about the stereotypes that the youth experience, but also seniors have their own stereotypes too. And I often think that as the Seniors Health Services Coordinator, that we undervalue our seniors. And when we look at any of the volunteer organizations that we have in our small communities, that it is the seniors that keep that going to a great extent. And we need to support seniors in the community as a part of a thank you for all the work that they've done, but they also have an impact on economic development. And they're good citizens. They don't take up a lot of the police hours or any of those things. And having something like this is the start of like a community movement that can help seniors age in their community.
So as I mentioned, our first project was the raking leaves, and as you can see, there was a lot of leaves at some of the houses. Some of them, there was only a couple, and the kids are like, what are we doing? Like, there's nothing here. And then you get that. And so it took them, a while, but they really were very dedicated to it. They really cared. They came up with different systems of how to get the leaves to the front yard from the backyard and stuff. So it was really cool to see them all problem solving together, because it really took what they're supposed to be learning in the classroom outside and really helped local residents as well. And so like I said, there was 18 students in total. And we went from, originally we had 16 seniors sign up, and by the end of the 2 hours, we did 21 different homes. Some of them we had to go back to just because the leaves started falling later than we expected. So we needed to, add in some extra time, but it was amazing to see the impact of just a couple hours in the morning.
Right. And I think, too, this is what established the relationship with the alternative education class at Wellington Heights High School. And then we were able to move forward from there. So this is just some more pictures and that's the whole team that was there at the end of the day.
Okay. So then afterwards, we got some feedback from both the youth and the seniors. And so, 100% of the youth were like, yes, I will definitely do this again. This was great. And the seniors too, like they felt they were really grateful for it. I know at least for me going around, they were like, this was great that you had these kids out there, that we can see the good things that they're doing, right? Because usually they're the more rowdy ones, the ones that get in trouble and do
Yeah.
different things. So it was great to kind of build that relationship, and the youth could see who they were helping, because we got a lot of the seniors to be home that day.
Yeah, and we also had a lot of people walking by that were stopping and asking questions about where were the kids from and what were we doing, and the community was very supportive of the initiative.
And these are just comments from the youth themselves. So we put together a survey and sent it to both classes, and these are the Alt Ed kids. And I just want to point out two of the comments. So one was, I felt really good afterwards, right? It's just that they got this opportunity to try and help someone, and they actually said that it made a difference for them. And another young fellow said, we got to contribute to society. And I think for these kids, they kind of get that drilled into their heads, because some of them may have gotten in trouble with the law or with school or whatever, and they're being told time and time again, you're doing something bad. You need to do something good. And so they could just see from this one time what they could do and how they could actually benefit their communities and the value that they could bring, the positive things. So that made me feel really good, just seeing that, we planted that seed in them, that they could be doing amazing things, and people noticed that.
I think also too, the comment number 2 in that is there should be more people in the community to get involved. And I think sometimes we get that we are rushing to our car and we don't notice that our neighbor is having trouble with her blue box, or we don't think about how do our seniors get their garbage to the curb in the winter and things like that. And I think just having people, just exposing the youth to the seniors and seeing those people, they understood why those seniors couldn't clear their own leaves. So if you're using a walker or a cane, you can't possibly get into your yard and start raking up leaves. And I think it was really eye-opening for these kids to see seniors with those mobility issues, and definitely older seniors than they would generally be, would see out in the community, because about 80% of the seniors were over the age of 80 and quite challenged with their mobility. So it was a real need that they were filling.
So looking to this fall, so we started this project just up in Mount Forest just to try it out. So what we really want to do is bring it to Minto. We have already seniors calling Helen saying they want this help. Minto Youth Action Council will be helping. We've connected with Norwell as well as Wellington Heights, because I know, we're trying to get it out into the community. We want local youth helping local seniors. So we have lots of volunteers, but we need your help to kind of get the word out there that we do have this support. So, once we get a poster, maybe Taylor can put it out there for us. Yep. And, all of you, if you know someone that could use that support, you can let us know, and we can kind of start organizing what that day is going to look like, because I think it's going to be a lot more than 20 homes this year. And we're going to get into some different projects that they've been doing as well as the leaves, and maybe you can start thinking about different things that they could help with as well. Okay.
So one of the things was when we were speaking with Dave at Wellington Heights, he mentioned that he is a licensed carpenter. So that opened up a whole new realm of things that the youth could be involved in. And I was in touch with Belinda and couldn't believe how quickly she got back in touch with us with jobs that the students could do. So here in Minto, they were involved in building some of the boxes for the community garden in Palmerston. And they also did some of the framing for the presentation in Clifford, the homecoming. So they needed to have some things built, and they were involved in that. And the last picture there is of a ramp that the students built, and that is in the town of Palmerston for a resident that has mobility issues. And Gabby can maybe talk a little bit about how that project came together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've been trying to find, different projects for them, and I've reached out to our outreach workers with the family health teams, and so they've been looking for things that the youth could be doing. And yeah, we found about this lady. She's been housebound for a number of years because of different medical issues. So we talked to Dave, and we're like, what can we do here? Like, you've got the muscle power and you've got the brains to do this. So yeah, together with his class, he put together the blueprints for this ramp that they built themselves. It was probably a matter of like 2 weeks that they did that. And yeah, it was great. We fundraised in a matter of days just to get all of the lumber that we needed and the supplies. And they went there like full days to work on it. And I know I kind of popped in with popsicles and different treats to kind of keep them going, but they were so focused and so determined to get it done. And I can't believe that they did that so quickly, and just it was amazing.
So this is just some feedback from Dave, the teacher, regarding these students. I asked him, what did you see that happened as a result of the students being involved in this project? And he said that he saw an improvement in their attendance, and that they recognized that they were actually making a positive difference in the life of others. I think particularly in the ramp project, he didn't have people these kids don't always show up, because even when we were doing the LEAF project, he's like, well, we could have 12 or we could have 3. So, but for the ramp project, the kids showed up every single day, and they interacted with the resident as well. And in terms of the students had shared with Dave that they knew this project was real and they could see it coming together, and they were excited about it. And it really made a big difference to them that they were making an improvement in the life of this person. And even when I was there the one day, the one boy was like, he just lifted up his arm, and I was saying how amazing it was. He's like, yeah, the truth about youth, man. And I thought, but they were really pumped about the project. And we needed to raise some money. And within, I think it was about 3 days, we had the amount of money that we needed. Plus, we had a service group here in Palmerston that was willing to act as a backup if we needed any additional funds. So it was really impressive.
And I think another thing that one of the students said was that, I actually enjoy coming to class. I actually show up to school now because this project actually means something to me. It's not just sitting there being bored, not doing anything. And so, I've had lots of discussions with different, municipal staff about our youth retention, and that, we're trying to keep youth here. And these are the ones that are probably sticking around. And they may not graduate, they may not get those skills, but if this is what's going to help them get to school and get that high school diploma, I think, that really means a lot to a lot of them. And they're getting, volunteer hours, they're getting things for their resumes. Like, it speaks wonders just what a small little project could do for these kids that are part of our communities. So awesome. And so, yeah, to top it all off, we want to say thank you to the town of Minto, because you really stepped up really fast. We were not expecting to hear back that, you could help us figure out how to get the permit done. I don't know how to do these things. I don't know who to talk to. Belinda giving us ideas for the garden boxes, the murals, Taylor's help with different things, Gord's help with different things, all of you, like, there's this township is such a community, and you all focus so much on the youth that I'm just so grateful and appreciative. And yeah, like, without your support, that ramp would not have happened, and that woman would still be stuck inside, not being able to get out. Those kids would just not be showing up at school. So thank you so very much for supporting this.
Yeah, like Gabby and I would be like having our texting each other back and forth. You're never going to guess now what Belinda said. We got this to do, we got that to do. And it really did make a huge difference how quickly the town of Minto responded to our request for things to do. And I think it really speaks to your desire to build a strong community. So thank you so much.
Bye. Questions?
I have a comment. First of all, hats off to both of you. Two groups that it couldn't be more rewarding when something good happens to either one of those groups. This is a message that's such good news, in my opinion, that should be shared with the Board of Education to implement or re-implement some past programs that have been of skill sets for those type of youth. We still need those, and I think they should be put back in the high schools. The second thing is, again, congratulations, and I know the mayor's going to say if we need any more help, please call, because these are great programs.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and so we did share with the board, and now Dave originally had one class. They now have two classes and a bus, so they can come bus over to Minto anytime to help with really anything that you guys need help with.
Does Norwell, just out of curiosity, does Norwell not have a similar alternate education program?
Yes, so Norwell does. We just kind of had started with the one in Wellington Heights and then spread out to here. But yeah, Norwell is really interested because I've been kind of telling them about this. So they want to know how they can kind of start their own thing. So we'll start with Norwell here too.
As anybody else, I just want to add, Gabby, we've had some great successes, and our youth group's coming. The KELP program at Norwell is an amazing leadership program. I really was excited to see the fact that we reached out to the group of kids that sometimes get painted with that brush, as you said. I really appreciate the fact that we're looking at getting them out there and showing them that there's worthwhile things to your volunteer work. And I know they have to have it for the grade 12 diploma, but we have some segment of our community that they have it in grade 9 and they keep adding. And we have a whole bunch that in grade 12 are going like, I need 28 hours, like I can't graduate in the next 3 weeks. So it's great that we can bring them in. And I think that we have to look for every opportunity. And I know Taylor and Belinda and everybody here will be looking for that. And as the Deputy Mayor said, I feel comfortable saying from a council standpoint, we'll give you as much support as we possibly can, because we really believe in our youth. We have some great youth out there. And I'm really excited, Helen, about the fact that you matched it up with the seniors, because we have great seniors. And and we have these volunteer nights, and we ask people that are here volunteering for more than one group, and everybody's hand goes up, and then more than 2 groups, and still half the hands are still up there. Sometimes 3 or 4 groups, and they're all in there. How many do we have usually, Judy? How many did you have last year? I was way, but 180 or
175.
175 multiplied by 4, because they're in 4 different groups, and I think we can get our youth doing that too and matching them up. It's a great project, and let us know wherever we can do to help. And thanks for presenting this today. And it does get out there, and there might be not thousands of people watching. It might have been a bit of a stretch from the Deputy Mayor. He has a tendency to give that extra little bit out there, but there's hundreds.
Yeah,
there's hundreds.
That's so funny.
And they'll tell the other hundreds, and we get it out there. But it's a great message, and thank you for bringing it.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Okay. All right. Public question period.
We can stay.
You can let them go.
No.
You can go. Yeah, gosh. What a guy. Is there any public questions? Okay, correspondence received. Clifford Recreation Association. Anybody got one that you want to pull out of here? Early.
I would like us to respond to the Owen Sound request for economic impact analysis on the cost of the minimum wage increase. I'd like to support that they ask the Ontario Chamber of Commerce to do an economic impact analysis prior to the implementation.
Okay.
I'd like us to look at Ken Porter's letter. I think there's a lot of good information in there. I don't know whether that gets wrapped into another staff report or how we deal with that exactly, but I think he's given us some good information.
Yeah. There is a report later on cemeteries. Is that on this one? No, it's not on this one. Sorry.
Last time.
It was on last time.
That's what.
But it's some follow-up coming on it. Yeah, we can pull that if you want. Yeah. I think some people have had some conversations with him.
I went and saw Mr. Porter.
But anyways, we can pull that. And any other ones?
I mean, the AMO submission, we automatically.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, we've talked about that one, and that makes solid sense. That was interesting. The one from Owen Sound. I have no problem supporting that myself because I think there should be more studies done on it.
And I think putting it in the hand of the Chamber of Commerce is the right place for it to be.
Yeah. So what have we do on that? Does anybody else motion to support? Do you want to make that, Councilor Caldwell? Deputy Mayor Faulkner, all in favor of that? Okay. And then, what do you want to do? Do you want to talk about what you've had communication with Ken, or
I did.
Ron, if you want to?
Well, maybe.
Or what do you want to, Judy? What do you want to comment on it, Judy?
Well, I guess I just thought that he had made some good points. I think maybe I'll just chat about the complaints corner. Usually by this time of year, our cemeteries are brown or almost brown, and they don't need cutting very often. And, this year the grass is, it's not only green, but it's greasy. And people who make their living cutting grass have to cut grass. And sometimes it has to happen when it's raining too. And so I think that, normally we kind of put up with that kind of stuff maybe in the spring, but it's still going on. It's it's August. It is August. And, we still have this greasy green grass. So we still have these challenges. I think, like the conditions of the cemeteries really concern me as well. I even kind of wondered, is it time that we took back the care of our cemeteries? But that's pretty big. So, I'll just throw that out there and see where it goes. But our cemeteries are a really important part of our community, and, we need to make sure they're looked after well.
Okay, do you want to speak?
I can. I went to see Mr. Porter because there was a couple things in this letter that perhaps were confrontational, and there was a couple things that I wasn't sure I understood, and we talked for well over an hour, and he's very knowledgeable. Mr. Porter is very knowledgeable in respect to the Cemetery Act and the bereavement BOA association, or and anyways, it opened my eyes a little bit because I know I have to, if I'm going to take a bigger interest in it, and cemeteries are a passion of mine, that I have to become better educated in respect to that area if I'm going to advise on improvements. And there are a couple things that he brought, like the signs. The signs are not very inviting, in my opinion, to people that are under traumatic situation, burying a loved one and that type of thing. So I agree with you, Judy, and I've always been a proponent of taking back our cemeteries with respect to care. That doesn't mean we don't have to think outside the box to find out innovative ways of funding that. I don't think it necessarily has to come straight out of taxpayers' dollars. I think there's other ways of doing it. So, anyways, that's my comment, and I tried to take that as positive a letter as I could, and I think we'll be moving on from there. And I'm going to do more work on it for sure.
Well, and I guess I'll just add to the fact, one of the things on the grass, I mean, we recognized, we tried a new contractor, it didn't work.
Yep.
We fired the contractor, and we started again. I think, Judy, your comments, and I would say the same to Ken, it hasn't been an easy year to cut grass anywhere. I mean, so that is a problem. We had that report the other day about what we might do to improve our cemeteries and maybe do a couple things and add-ons and whatever. But that was initial run up the flagpole. There was nothing in that report, and I think a little bit of it here was, I think there was, well, we first of all we'll definitely have some public input when we come up with what we're going to do with the cemeteries. It might come down to relooking again about how we fund it. One of the disadvantages, and I hate to look back in the past, but Gord, I forget how much we've got in GICs sitting for cemeteries, but there's quite a bit.
Well, you can't touch that principle.
But the point is, you can't touch the principal, so you only can touch the interest. So our cemeteries cost us close to, I believe, $90,000 a year, taxpayers' money right now. At one time, cemeteries with their GICs paid nothing. Taxpayers paid nothing to look after them. So as an overall taxpayer, we have to look at everything too. So, but I have no problem. In fact, I thought we were going down the right path by bringing up some of these new improvements in our cemeteries where we're lacking. And I'm all for, I mean, probably everybody in this room has somebody that they go visit in the cemetery. I hate to say it, but I've got quite a few people in all the cemeteries. Maybe not Clifford. I can't remember. No, Clifford, I don't have anybody. But otherwise, we want them to be as best as possible. But at the same token, there's that responsibility. So I have no problem with the staff continuing to get through this season. But maybe we look at budget time. This will be up to this council to decide what kind of budget money they want to put into cemeteries over and above if they think that there needs to be new, but that has to be balanced out with everything else that the community has to do. So I thought the letter had some good points, as you point out. I was a little, I don't think any of them are on some, I think we can handle all of what he brings to the table in some further work. And again, and Ken has a great background in cemeteries, obviously being in the memorial business all those years. And there's a lot of rules and regulations that we have to follow. And I think overall, we do get complaints from time to time, but overall, I don't think we've had that many complaints about cemeteries, other than things that, when we do get a complaint that if a cemetery sunk in after a burial, we go back there, fill it up. Those are things that happen. But when you're emotionally there and you're walking, I agree with you, Judy, if you're walking down and you're walking to your loved one's spot and there's something wrong with it, it's pretty emotional. It hits you pretty hard.
Yep.
And so we'll try our best. But I think, Mike, and we've talked about it, that we're going to try to put a report together as we go forward and for budget purposes. Is that fair?
Mayor Bridge, I would recommend that you send a letter back to the gentleman. And maybe you want to add to that, we did give direction to prepare design drawings for the 3 cemeteries. I think that you could add in their letter that we would have by resolution a public component to that, so nothing would be done until we had an opportunity for this gentleman and any others who wanted to have input on the various designs. Right. I know particularly in Harrison he didn't like the one option of the circle, but
I don't like that.
That was only one of 2, so we'll be going out to get some quotes on design work, and when we bring that back, certainly staff would welcome input from the public and from council.
Yep.
All set.
Okay. Well, we'll get that off. Thanks, Judy, for bringing it up. Okay. Motion to do that. Deputy Mayor Faulkner, Councilor Dirksen, all in favor? Good. Okay. All right, I think we covered that. Motion to accept all the other rest of the correspondence. Councilor Elliott, Councilor Anderson, all in favor? Good. Reports of committees. Maitland Valley, not with us, but I don't think there's anything earth-shattering there.
I didn't see anything.
Mayor Bridge, to just point out, the first meeting was before the flood.
That's right.
2 days before. I don't know if there's anything in there that sort of says something's coming.
No, there isn't.
Certainly, the after minutes from June 26th, which is fairly quickly after, they go through some of the details of the flood event. And just for council's information, we did our briefing with the Conservation Authority July 26th.
Right.
And it's in one of our later reports, but the idea in discussion with the Conservation Authority is sometime in the fall, perhaps November, things are a little less raw for a lot of people. We'll maybe have a public open house or a meeting to go over the exact rainfall volumes and what happened and the response and so forth. And And there's some other initiatives that we can talk about later on, but certainly appropriate to receive both those sets of minutes.
Okay. Motion to receive. Councillor Caldwell. Councillor Elliott, all in favor? Parks and Rec. Yeah, we're up next, right? He's doing the Parks and Rec. Oh, there's Greg. Good. Yeah, yes, we'll get you up here. RAC meeting. Okay. Go ahead. Welcome.
Yeah, you guys have the report in front of you. I'm just basically here to answer any questions that you have or anything like that.
Okay. Oh, I'd say turn that over to you, I guess, Ron. I could have.
Oh, that's
You're there.
the man's there.
Yeah.
Just helpers.
That looks good.
Just have a comment, Mr.
Yes.
I guess blessed to have a grandchild, and I took him to see, Anne-Marie and I took him to see Cars 3 the other night.
Oh, at the Norgan?
Yeah, at the Norgan, and I was most impressed, not only with the volunteers. Mr. Anderson was looking after the confection booth, and I think there was over 80 people turned out for that movie, and I thought I was pretty impressed with that because the attendance, you get this impression that, and I know that Norgan's done very well in paying back mortgage and all that, but to see over 80 people sitting in the audience is pretty impressive indeed. That's a credit to the PRAC.
Ron?
Just a couple of things, Greg. Maybe you can, I know it probably isn't on this report, but maybe highlight how our recreation, we have two big events, or actually fairly big events coming up with Clifford, and also have JYD, and we also have the Pee Wee Ball Tournament coming up.
Sure, take all my other additional items. That's fine, Ron, but we can let Greg do it if you want. That's all right.
You're repeating.
Okay. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I'm here. Al's up in Clifford.
Yep.
Setting up. They believe they're setting up the tent today for the homecoming.
Right.
The amount of volunteers that have been doing stuff for 2 years. The amount of chocolate bars and almonds and everything that have been sold over the last couple of years have been amazing. I think everybody's just looking forward to having the event this weekend. I know I'm going up and doing a couple things up there this weekend, helping out. So the weather is going to hold out. It's
gonna be good. I'll be there. I'm there all weekend. I'm there.
Whatever it is, it is.
Yeah, exactly. But no matter what, the committee has done all that they could and more to be ready for this event. I know the staff and the town support have been great, especially for the homecoming. The other events Ron was speaking about were the Jeff Davies. This is year number 9 this year. So 32 teams again, full weekend.
Wow.
Harrison will be busy with camping and the dance and stuff like that. Palmerston will be busy with the 2 diamonds and the opening ceremonies. Ever since they switched the opening ceremonies back over to Palmerston, it's become an event in itself. Just people coming back year after year, meeting everybody again, and it's a little reunion every year. And I know they do have plans for the 10th anniversary next year, so hopefully we can follow through on that as well. And then come Tuesday, the teams come in from all over for the U14 Canadians. We're pretty well ready, I think. We've still got a couple days and a couple little things to do, but I know Wayne and his committee have done a great job getting ready for this. A couple little loose ends that we're tying up this week, and again, the sun will shine all next week. We're all good for that, and yeah, a busy couple weeks, and then we get into the street dances next weekend too. So
yeah,
it's a
busy time.
it's an interesting time in the town of Minto.
Yeah, not this weekend.
Next week. Next week.
Yeah. No, we can't be in every. Yeah,
5 days.
I know. Oh,
So
and-
yeah, it's been a good. The department's worked a lot, and the guys have done a great job. And
girls, yeah, and girls,
yes,
yes.
Our girls have done very well. I've been very happy with them.
Thank you. Anything else? Motion to accept the report. Councillor Elliott, Councillor Anderson, all in favor? Good. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you on the weekend. Friday, I'll be there. Cultural Roundtable. We have Taylor doing that. Welcome, Taylor.
All right, so as we've talked before, obviously we had a flood, so that kind of postponed a couple things, including our cultural roundtable meeting in June.
Yeah.
So we met on Monday, July 24th, and it was definitely a jam-packed meeting, so I'll just go over some highlights of that. So the committee reviewed the Minto Youth Action
Taylor,
Council. Sorry.
Mary Lou
Can't
needs.
hear you.
Sorry. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. The committee
voice.
reviewed
There you go. Can you
the
hear?
Minto Youth Action Council minutes from June 7th, June 21st, and July 6th. So the youth have been busy planning outdoor movie nights in Minto, so they're really excited about that. And we've partnered with Guelph Wellington Dufferin Public Health to do this. So the dates are set along with the location. So in Clifford, the movie will be on Thursday, August 24th, Friday, September 15th in Harriston. So the Clifford movie will be at the Rotary Park, and the Harriston movie on September 15th will be at the train station, and the Palmerston movie will be at the Railway Museum on Friday, September 29th. So you should see some promotional materials stuff coming out soon. They're going to be promoting that at the street party next weekend. And then also at the street party, the youth are sponsoring henna tattoos, which they're very excited about, and they're working hard at preparing registrations and everything for the amazing race. So there's 10 enthusiastic businesses who are participating, so I think it should be successful, and they're really looking forward to it. And last week I spoke to Marion Price, who's from Playworks Ontario, about when the new criteria for the application for the youth-friendly community will be coming out, which was supposed to come out in June. So I've been patiently waiting, but it's either going to be coming out at the end of August now or early September. So in the meantime, we got a list of kind of the criteria to kind of get started. So I've spoke with Greg a bit, and he's rounding up some information about all of our rec and sports programs and everything, so we can get a head start. And Gabby and I are going to be meeting tomorrow to go over some other things that we can get ready for the application, so that's exciting. We also reviewed the Railway Heritage Museum minutes from June 13th and July 11th. So a couple of things that we highlighted were Catherine Frank, the museum student, has been working hard to bring in groups for museum tours now that the museum's kind of revamped and more accessible and ready for people to come in. So she scheduled tours with Birmingham and Royal Terrace. I think for shortly they should be coming, so that's 2 to start, so they're looking forward to that. And the handcar races were in June. So there were 16 teams total. Weather held out, so that was a good day. I think everyone had a lot of fun and excited for next year. So that's going to become an annual event, so that'll be running on the same weekend next year. And we also discussed the Communities in Bloom reception that had taken place on Sunday, July 16th at the museum. So that was a really well-attended event. There's about 40 people, or 40 different community members that came to greet the judges. So again, despite rain, I think it went well. So that was nice to see.
We need a roof on the bridge.
Yeah.
It was pouring rain on me on the bridge.
A couple people were drenched.
Check that
out. So we actually had Ella Henderson come to the meeting, and she is with Guelph Wellington Local Immigration Partnership, also known as the LIP, which is funded by the federal government, which addresses socioeconomic issues in the area and provides research to discover different priorities in the area. She highlighted that the LIP has been active for the past 9 years and has been providing language training and interaction for immigrants during those years. And she just really highlighted that anything that we're working on here in Minto through the Culture Roundtable, she'd really love to be a resource for inclusion moving forward. So that was a good chance to meet with her and good for moving forward with projects. The Cultural Roundtable received an application for the Community Event Development Fund, and that was from the Harrison Minto Egg Society for their fall fair on September 15th, 16th, and 17th. And this application was to add entertainment to the fair by booking a local band, the Big Wheels, for $500, which would include various promotions and advertisements, and so that was moved by the committee. And then we discussed the Live to Lead conference, which we're really excited about since it went well last year. So this year it's going to be taking place on October 6th with new speakers. So John Maxwell again, as he hosts the event, Dave Ramsey, Cheryl Band, and Warwick Dunn. And so that'll be taking place from 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Norgan. And this year actually, the town of Erin and Hanover, they're going to be hosting a second and third event, so that'll be cool to kind of have it spread out around the community.
So they're going to do it at the theaters?
I'm not sure
I
where
know
they're...
Erin has a theater, so.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure where their locations are, but I'm sure we'll hear about that soon. And the Cultural Roundtable decided to sponsor another $1,000 towards this event this year. And last year we did nominations. We sent out to community groups that they could nominate just influential leaders within the community, and so we would give them free tickets. So we're going to give that another try. So that was moved in the minutes as well. And now just a couple roundtable mentions. So the Chamber of Commerce annual barbecue will be held once again at John Cox's cabin, and that'll be on Thursday, August 17th, and all are welcome to attend that. It's always a lot of fun. The Clifford Library will be hosting a magician on the Friday afternoon of the Clifford Homecoming, and they'll also have a magician in Harrison at the library during the Harrison Street Party, which is on August 12th. And the library will also be one of the participating locations for Mayak's Amazing Race. The Basement Cafe posters are all ready, so they're eager to get those out. So that will be taking place on October 14th, with Rose and Thorns headlining, with Juanita Wilkins returning as an opening act. So that should be a lot of fun, so mark your calendars for that. And yeah, that's about it. So the next meeting will take place on August 28th as, I guess not, that's not quite it. It'll be taking place on August 28th so that we can get together and talk more about Culture Days. So that's taking place on, that's the last weekend in September, is it 29th, 30th, and October 1st. So I have a bit of a list of what we're proposing to take place, and most are scheduled now since our meeting last week. So there will be, in Palmerston, there'll be a museum scavenger hunt, a writer's workshop, the Minto Youth Action Council's outdoor movie at the museum, some railway storytelling, and hopefully a photography session. And in Harrison, we're hoping to have Sky Buffalo, which is John Samosi, come and do some Aboriginal drumming, which will be really interesting. Also an Arts Council workshop, some apple picking at Dave and Jean Anderson's property, followed by
Your apples picked.
No, you take that.
Oh, you got to
You
take
can only
apples.
keep modified milks of the marinate. That's all taken care of.
So after the apple picking, there will be a bonfire with
We're gonna make
stories.
you try making a pie too.
Oh, okay. Oh gosh.
Very public health won't like
No.
that.
Yeah, bonfire, singing, stories, and an astronomy event afterwards that Gord's helping with that. And then in Clifford, we'll have a studio tour with Wesley Bates and Susan Couch in there, and a picnic in the park, and also a genealogy workshop at the library. So this is the most events I think we've ever had for Culture Day, so that's pretty exciting. So
Yeah,
we were all
it's
pretty
big, big.
enthusiastic leaving that. So yeah, we're just finishing up those final details, and then we'll be able to get started with that. So any questions?
Questions? Just a comment, Gord. You were telling me for the Smoking the Bandit, how many do you have? 55 people out for Smoking the Bandit and about 7 or 8 cars. Oh, there you go. Cool. That's good. It's nice to see the Crown Theater sort of trying to be there, and a lot of fond memories of that. Okay. Well, thanks very much. Good job, Tim. Thanks, Taylor. Motion to accept Taylor's report. Councillor Erickson, Councillor Anderson, all in favor? All right, thank you. And next up is facilities. Greg's back. We lost Ron. Turf.
Okay. So on May
Truck, I
16th,
guess.
the Kinsmen came to council to talk to you guys about their tough truck event, and it was referred back to Prac. So Al's done some work with the Kinsmen and gone over some things, a couple of things that we needed to finalize and stuff before we came to you guys. They needed permission from the Agricultural Society, so they have verbal permission right now, as well as some insurance issues, and they've been looked into as well. So this is they're hoping to, they are running their second annual on, or their first annual was October 1st, 2016. So this will be their second year. So they're just hoping to get some of these things in place and have them permanent, so they can grow the event in different ways.
And that's October again this year?
Yeah.
Sometime.
October 1st again?
It'll be the first weekend.
Oh, the first weekend in October. Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Upstairs.
I didn't see in here, I guess you kind of addressed it. I don't see that the Harrison Minto Ag Society has, you don't have that approval.
They have verbal permission.
Verbal
Yeah.
permission. Okay. I'm wondering, should that be included in the recommendation that we?
I would like to see us have actual written.
Yeah,
permission
it just seems a little, it's a little too loose.
and sign off on the actual design, because I don't want down the road. I think with Councillor Dirksen, I don't want to end up down the road having somebody that maybe Agricultural Society that says, "Oh, I was never informed," or
Yeah.
if it's passed at their actual thing with a written report back. So if we have some time, because it's October, right?
Yeah.
So they should
And we're
know.
working on an agreement with the town as well.
Yeah, so that would probably come back. Bill, would be in September if they could get all that in place, because we don't have another meeting until September.
Yes, we could have the agreement come back in September, or that would be before the event. I think there was a comment made in the minutes about access to the site after the event and how that would be handled too. So yeah, I think
There's going to be agreement coming
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
we
So
can prepare that.
So we're still working on that. That would be the other thing, is there's concerns down the road that if it's all sitting there permanently, are people going to come down and decide that, oh, I got time off on Sunday, I'll go down there and just rip up the turf.
Use my new F-150.
Yeah, F-150 and get hung up on the rocks or whatever. I can see that happening. But anyways, so those are things. But I think we can firm that up, and I think then we can bring it back. And
Yeah.
so this report's for
Yeah.
information.
Well, Mayor Bridge, the recommendation addresses that, but you could add in written sign off from the
No, that's what I mean. I want written sign off in there.
from
Sorry.
the
Yeah.
Agricultural Society.
Yeah.
So if you added that into the recommendation,
Yep. Good point.
pretty much would cover it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they just aren't mentioned in that recommendation, and
Yeah,
I
I
just
like
wanted it
that.
a little tighter.
Yep.
Thanks.
So with that addition, can I have a motion to accept that report? Councillor Christian, Councillor Elliott, all in favor? Okay. Next up, trails, maintenance. Are you doing that one? Oh, Mike's doing that one. Oh, yeah, it's right on there, Mike.
Okay, so I guess since we've assumed ownership of the trails in 2016, there's been some additional maintenance requirements for access, for emergency access and stuff, as the tree canopy has grown in over sections of the Waste Junctions Trail. So on May 31st, we had a demo of a boom flail mower, which actually it's an attachment that we would put on our current trackless units. It has a 14-foot reach that can actually pivot right up over top of its head straight up, so we could regain some of our canopies back. We actually did a demo of the same unit in 2010, and at that time there wasn't really a need for such a unit because we didn't have like the trails that we currently have today. We last season, once we took the trails over, we did have a contractor come in to do some of this work, and it did cost almost $15,000 for about to maintain a little over 4 kilometers of the trail. So as you can see, there's some different pricing options for this unit, either a refurb unit, a demo unit, or a new unit for this application. Is there any questions?
Judy?
Thank you. So when you say the 15 grand, is that just for the trails? Or
Yes.
Okay, would this unit be able to be used to do the trees on the roadsides?
There's certain applications where it could be used. A lot of the trees on the roadsides are back far enough from the road allowance, but there is the saplings that do come up and really get a little bit too big you actually have to physically cut them down with
Yeah.
a chainsaw. This way you could maintain those areas. Cattails are another area that are coming out to the intersection of Winding, and they could be used in those areas as well as the lagoons themselves to keep that brush maintained.
I guess what I'm thinking, like our road was done, I think in 2015, and it was like the sides of the trees sort of thing.
Yeah.
Would this be able to be used for that?
We wouldn't be able to get quite that reach. That unit actually has, I believe it's about a 24 to 30 foot reach.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We're only about half with
Right.
this unit. Yeah.
Right. Because I'm assuming there was quite a cost to getting whoever that was in to getting that done too.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Thanks.
I think that's great. I'm not so sure I like the wording of the recommendation because it kind of limits you to a refurbished a demonstrator unit, and I'm not the biggest fan of refurbished units, but because I haven't had great experience with them. Yeah. So I would agree to that, except I don't think we should eliminate if the price was right, a new unit. Because you're talking about guarantees, warranty, and all that kind of stuff. So
that is correct. A refurbished unit, there could be one coming next week, or it could be next year. Demo units are readily available. They are another $10,000 above that. So it is an option to go with a demo unit then at any time. But
and what about the warranties on the demo unit?
The warranties on the demo unit is 1 year parts only. The refurb is a 30-day, and then brand new, I believe it was a 3-year. If I remember correctly.
See, that's worth it right there.
For less than $5,000.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you want to make a motion to that effect?
Yeah.
Leave it up to staff to try to get the best.
I would pass that motion on the recommendation, but I don't want them limited to a refurbished demonstrator unit. I'll leave it up to the CAO to word it properly.
Yeah, I guess if I may, Mayor Bridge, just add new / demonstrator / refurbish, but you probably need to put the 21,000 up to 30,000.
30.
Yeah.
Correct. And I'll make that motion.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councillor Elliott. All in favor of that?
Can I just ask
Yep.
for clarification? Is the 30,000 include the dual tires and rims or no?
For the demo unit, it would be included. For brand new, I believe, where is that? Brand new. So a brand new unit would then be 35,000 for brand new, including the dual tires. Sorry. The the demo unit would include the dual tires for the 30,000.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's
Okay. So whichever unit is preferred, it's going to be an additional 5,000 for the stabilization of the dual tires
Well,
required.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask a question. Can we use this unit for anything other than trails?
it was
Yep.
mentioned that you could use it on roads.
Yep.
And
Roadside, like somewhat roadside maintenance, as well as our lagoon systems. And then there's always little areas that pop up from time to time that we do have to get the brush taken back on.
and remember that, and I forget, we have to spend our money from the county I think this year, Gord. It's our third year. And how much we left in the county? We did 2 for 1 on the county.
Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
we were at 18.
I think 18 was
18
out of the 50.
So I'll then make that 35.
Yeah. Up to 35. Oh, you already with that?
Or amend the motion.
It's up to you guys. I figured you were just doing that.
Well, no, okay, 35 then.
Yeah, 35.
That's fine. But I mean, you work it out, and
Yep.
we'll rely on you. If it's a really good demo, hasn't got a lot of hours on it,
Yeah.
and you miss out 2 years.
Tell
it's
by
up-
the wear.
You decide. You decide.
Exactly. The
knives.
majority of the units that are on a demo might have anywhere from 40 hours
Yeah.
to a couple hundred hours on them. You are limited to a reduced warranty on that, but yeah, it could be either or. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Good. And all in favor of that? Thank you. Whoop, what happened to my thing? Oh shit! It just went out.
There.
I know. I got it. I get it back on. Okay, we got it right here.
Parking report.
I got parking. Parking. Here he is. He's all decked out in his parking outfit.
This isn't parking out.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Tarnish the fire department.
Hey.
So, Jane Street at the moment, we have restricted parking to the west side only. And what we're recommending is that we do the whole street because it is such a narrow street. Just for ease of getting, especially emergency vehicles up and down that street. And to make it a lot easier for traffic if you're not parking on both sides. So that's all I got. Questions?
Yes.
And it's going to remain one way from Main Street to Inkerman, correct?
Right. The only thing that would change is restricting the parking to the west side
Okay.
for the remainder of the street.
Yep. I'll make that motion.
Any questions?
I guess I'm just looking at all those homes along there on the east side of the street, and I'm thinking that those people that live in those homes aren't going to be really excited about this. Is there not I haven't been down there for a while, but is there not a fairly wide area for parking?
No.
Nothing.
No, and I'm pretty sure they all have driveways too.
Yeah.
So you have that option of parking in your driveway, or you can park the proper way on the other side of the street.
On the other side.
A little bit of a problem too, Judy. If you go down there now, they have curbs that we never had before.
Oh, okay. So you
That's
can't
what,
get
that's,
off.
I think you're thinking. At one time, there was a little bit more
Yeah.
ability,
Yeah,
but
you
since
could-
we did that, and if I asked the fire chief if they had people park on both sides and he had to get a truck down there, he wouldn't get it down there.
well,
so
we
I
get
think
it
it-
down
He
there,
would.
but
They
But
just
yeah,
wouldn't be
but-
happy.
You just have to pay for
Concern
new
that,
chrome.
that citizen down there would be better off not to have it on both sides.
yes. Okay.
It wouldn't be easy.
It could be done.
It can be done though. All right, I'm totally gone here. My thing here.
Just pitch.
Yeah, just pitch it. I didn't touch anything, honest.
Sure. That's what they all say.
I touched one little thing there, and
You're punching fingers all over the shop.
all right. Okay, we're good now. Okay, we had a motion on that.
Yeah, I'll make it.
And the seconder was Councilor Dirksen. All in favor? Good, thank you.
Bridge, Fishers are here.
Yes,
They're gonna have 8 to 5 reports.
I could if you want. I'm assuming that you guys are here for the drainage report, Harold? We can bring that. Well, if everybody's all right with that, we'll bring that forward. It's way down at the bottom. So I know you might have something on the go, or you might want to stay and listen to all this. It's up to you.
Might fall asleep.
But I would certainly have no problem if everybody's fine with that to bring the drainage up.
You need a motion for that?
Motion? Yeah. Councilor Dirksen, Councilor Anderson, all in favor? Good. So there's Mike.
Bridge, Mike and I are going to do a bit of a tag team. I
Tag
guess I'll
team.
go over it in general, and then specific Drainage Act questions, then Mike is here. This report deals with not only the flooding and the impact on our rural areas, but it also deals with the status of our municipal drains in the municipality. As I've mentioned numerous times before, and we do want to get the message out that the flood event on June 23rd was unlike anything we've seen here before. And again, the interesting point was if the rain had stopped at 4 a.m., we probably would have been fine. But between 4 a.m. and 6, we had probably double the rainfall or more in that period of time. So that's what caused the initial storm sewer backup and then the overland flooding that occurred. I mentioned we were going to reach out with the Conservation Authority this fall, and also we would like to hopefully hear from the province soon about their disaster recovery assistance program. We're expecting an announcement from them, and we're hopeful that obviously this event would be something that would qualify. If it is designated and the whole area is designated, then small farm owners are also allowed to apply under that program, and that can include emergency evacuation costs, farmland cleanup, restoration, that kind of stuff. It doesn't include crop insurance, but if that program is available to us, the landowners in the rural areas can also apply for it. We did actually not have any rural landowners file our online reports, so we do know that there is considerable amount of damage in the rural areas. We haven't been able to characterize all of it just yet. I mentioned in the report that we have 115 consecutively named municipal drains and between 30 and 40 named drains, so there's likely to be impacts on all of them in some fashion. The one picture that we show there is an inlet, a tile inlet that at one time was on grade to allow water to flow into it. It's now 1.5 feet or more above grade, so there's a lot more capacity in that ditch. But and the tile's also bent up, so it's actually collapsed in the inside. So those kinds of things, when you have 140 some potential drains, could be all over the place, and a lot of that we won't see, and farmers won't see until the fall or spring when they're out and about and things start coming off. So we're a little bit concerned that we haven't had a lot of reports from the rural community about damage, but I'm a little worried that there's a lot of it out there. If it's damage to a municipal drain, then what we know now is that that's also under the Drainage Act procedure. So we have to do maintenance to pull a bunch of stumps out or whatever, then we can't do it without going through the formal procedure. And just in case anyone had forgotten, municipal drain is not a town drain. It's a drain that's paid for by all the assessed owners. So everybody has a chance under the Act to provide input in those situations, and that's sometimes why they tend to take longer to resolve. Not only do you have landowners and the municipality involved, but you also have other agencies. We do know, and it's been confirmed by the Conservation Authority, that we had worse than a 1 in 100-year storm, and the engineer has confirmed that as far as municipal drains go, they're designed for a 1 in 2-year storm. So I don't know, it really wouldn't have mattered whether we had done the work on some of these drains or not. They were going to be overwhelmed for sure, and more than likely damaged, although we haven't had an engineer go drain by drain to see. In some cases, for example, there would have been so much water it just would have overwhelmed it and flowed over top. Mention that the Drainage Act is a very old piece of legislation, and again, I emphasize there that they're not town drains. They're drains that are owned by all the people assessed by them. There's a map in your report that shows the Maitland River watershed approximately. Note in the report that it's 27,725 acres in size, so it's a pretty big watershed. And 9,500 acres of that is in Wellington North. So in terms of watershed planning, we're dealing with 2 municipalities, but conservation authorities are the ones mandated to do planning by watershed. So obviously we're in partners with them when it comes to dealing with the Maitland River. There's a summary of there's about 12 drains that are currently active, some of which have been active for more than 5 years, some of them that have just recently completed. So this council here would have dealt with probably half those drains, and the previous council would have been dealing in part with the other half. So as I said, there's 10 or so drains roughly, some of which are in multiple drains in one application. But so there's a lot going on in the rural areas as far as municipal drain work. And as I mentioned, it's a pretty regimented process under the Drainage Act designed to get feedback from people. So I know there's frustration out there about how long some of these take. And I know we did get a commitment from Dietrich to move forward on some of our key ones with reports this fall. In one case, we had reports ready to do the work this year, and then some objections came forward, so we had to address those. So that puts the work off till next year. So I know it's frustrating. I guess the report in part assures people that, yes, we didn't get to them this year, and it's been a long time, but probably this flood wouldn't have mattered whether the work was done or not. And for sure, we know that even after this flood, that some of them are damaged again. So they're not working entirely properly in many cases. So there's a big job ahead of us on municipal drains, rural drainage. And part of that work is a watershed plan for the Maitland River that discussion with the Conservation Authority, our engineer, our staff people, we feel would be important to have. And I know it seems like a costly venture, and we have been working on this indirectly over the years, but obviously the flood event has sort of made our efforts join together to make sure this moves forward. And there's a program we can apply for assistance on the study, and we would tie into it the floodplain mapping that we've been planning all along here for 4 years now for Harriston. Fortunately or unfortunately, when you do have a flood and you're able to fly it with a drone, you get a pretty good idea where the floodplain is. But you have to tie that in with accurate mapping in order to make that legal. So the other part of this report is to get council's direction to apply under that federal program for assistance to prepare the detailed flood mapping for the entire watershed and to identify projects that can go ahead to try and help with the flooding. And we've heard talk about whether the Blind Line or County Road 6 or a project there might be able to hold water back and prevent so much from flowing into Harriston all at once. We also heard talk about Drain 6 and Dredge Creek and Drain 11 and on the southwest side of Harriston, whether channelization and allowing the water to get out faster would maybe help the situation. The difficulty is, as far as municipal drains goes, that's only a 1 in 2 year storm. So the kinds of projects that this plan would identify are storms that would help in 1 in 100 year or 1 in 150 year storm, that kind of thing. That's what we're hoping to do. We need to bring the final mapping together on the Maitland River. We've done all the research that we can. We have more monitoring wells, which were very helpful in the watershed. The Conservation Authority will tell you about that they have an unprecedented amount of excellent data that will help with this study. So I just wanted to provide this information to council to talk a little bit about watershed planning, the status of our municipal drain, and our concern that there are many drains out there that could be very well be damaged, and we need to hear from people if they're aware of any damage that's out there, and to continue to get in touch with us and identify it. In speaking with the province, one of the things they like to see is hard evidence of a potential impact. So if there's a farm out there that you've seen the tile come up, or there's, in the instance of John Cox, he talked a lot about what happened on his property and has pictures, and there's things back in his woodlots that will have to be cleaned up, and I'm sure that's quite widespread. So the other problem we face with the province is not only they want hard evidence, but I'm not sure they entirely know what a municipal drain is, and that it could be a considerable expense for everyone involved, including the town and the county. If we're part of the assessment for that drain, we could have quite expensive repairs come back to us. So I think applying for this study, starting to try and get that done, and trying to track wherever we do have damage come forward is very, very important, along with moving forward 3 or 4 of these drains that should have reports done this fall. So that's all I had to say on that particular topic. Try and answer any questions, Mike, if there was anything I missed.
One question: the drains that you specified above, will they be put on hold while the study is being done, or will work on them go ahead regardless of the study?
I mean, Mayor Bridge, through you, that those drains should go ahead. We'll do that work. We spoke to Dietrich Engineering at our meeting on July 14th, and we talked about the specific drains, in particular the ones that are sort of south and west of Harrison. Fisher and Mr. Fisher's involved with those, and he's promised those reports this fall. Yeah, so that will go independent of that other process, and Dietrich Engineering would probably not be the engineering firm that would do the overall study, nor would Triton. It would probably be some other firm. So so that work can keep going. I don't think we want to hold up, and there'll be others that'll come forward with petitions or whatever that they'll find stuff, and we'll need to process them. So it's going to be, I think, I'm worried that's going to be even busier than it has been, and you can see how they can back up pretty quick. Mike, pardon the pun.
Just add to that too, with these municipal drain projects that we're going to move forward with, the projects themselves will be set to standard, but there could be improvements to the outlets after the fact. These drains may not work correctly until some of these other areas are addressed. They won't work 100% until some of these other things have been corrected as well.
On that, and I would go back to the map. If you go back to the map back up there, Bill. I'll get mine here so I can't see that one because it's. But like, good example would be the dredge.
Yeah.
If it, whatever it has to be done on it, obviously, and I don't know what the holdup is. I know there's a couple people saying they're objecting. That's why it didn't get done this year yet. But when where it goes into the actual river, that's where we have to get. We've been asking for help on that with Maitland Valley for years. Yeah. We're saying to them, like, so we have to look at that, because if you can't get it into the river faster or better, then whatever we do on the drain going backwards isn't going to do anything for a major flood like we had. Like it might do for a normal rain event, which is what they're there for. But we have to do some, and that is a bigger project. That'll be part of the bigger project you're talking about, Bill, where you have to get the authority to say we can go in there and maybe do something with where that drain goes into the river, or change the river there somewhat. I haven't been out right at the site, but I know there's issues and maybe get and we were close. Maitland Valley. We were talking about this for the last couple of years. We didn't have, and it's unfortunate. It was 2 weeks before we had the big rain. After 3 years, they came to us with all the extra watering, all the metering we did up in the headwaters to try to find out where our flood is and where it would go. There wasn't any events. There wasn't anything that could give us what we needed, which was that big event.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we got it 2 weeks later. I didn't want to bring it on, but we have that event now. We have those numbers. We can push them in, and that would again push us a little harder at them as far as fixing how that drain and whatever goes in there. But it's a big issue.
Yeah.
And I think this council has been spending money. Maitland Valley has no money. They haven't been spending any money on it. We've been trying to keep them in the loop so we don't have to redo the wheel, but we've been spending money with Dietrich's and with Triton trying to do this ourselves. I really think we should go ahead and try to get this funding if we can and get it even going faster. We need that aerial stuff done in order to go into them and say we need certain things done on the river system itself, as well as our drains, right? The whole idea was to bring our drains in with the river so we knew, we talked about that as a council, that we do the whole picture at the same time. Because look at the watershed. There's so much, and drains are a big part of it. I mean, but again, they're not municipal. I have so many people come to me and say, just go out and fix that. Just go and bring, all you need is a high hole or whatever. We can't do it. We're not allowed under the Drain Act. So they shouldn't ever call them municipal drains. They should call them drains, farm drains, because we don't have any control. We have to go through the same process as everybody else. And I think that message has to get out there. It's I get lots of people frustrated with us because they think, and rightly so, maybe a piece of equipment would work, but you have to go through the process, and it's not fast. And I don't know. Judy, you've lived with them all your life.
Yeah. So something's troubling me about the direction of this discussion, I guess, because I feel like I hear something different from Maitland Valley. What I hear from Maitland Valley is there's not much you can do about it because you have a very narrow waterway going through Hairston, and the water's going to come in and the water will go out, but it's going to get stalled in Hairston because there just isn't room
I'm
to get
talking
through.
about the other side of Hairston, like where the drain comes out through Harold's area.
Okay.
West side. That's nothing to do with what you're talking about going through Hairston.
Okay, but my understanding, are you talking though that will mitigate some of the flood damage in Hairston?
Yeah, because if you looked at when we got the drone shots and we saw it, without Fisher Lake being created, I call it, don't mind Harold. Yeah, it was a lake.
No
Without
doubt.
it being created, people
We all had one named
Hairston
after ourselves.
Packers and everybody else that was flooded back through that way. That wasn't the river did that. That was backing up from Dredge Creek or Dredge. I'll call it a creek, Dredge Drain or whatever. And I think we can do some work on that. Again, we have to have the study. But if you ask Maitland, they're not sure either. They have no real knowledge as to.
Okay. I thought they were pretty clear that there wasn't much could be done about it, but maybe I just took a different.
Well, not 100 and what was the number we had? 160 millimeters.
Yeah,
60 millimeters.
I mean, and
we had a lot of rain.
Yeah, I mean that's
in a short time.
150-year event.
Yeah,
and we would have flooding no matter what. Agree, but
yes,
but there would be some areas we could maybe do a little bit better with. I mean, but
Rich, I've had probably 2 or 3 discussions with the conservation authorities since this event. I would say that they are fully supportive of doing this study and do believe that there are projects upstream and downstream that could help with flooding in Hairston.
That'd be excellent.
Yeah, and that may be different than what they've said in the past. Yeah, I mean they talked about the blind line. They talked about County Road 6 as being potential sites. They've talked about project in Dredge Creek area, widening and increasing the floodplain there. So, but conceptually, looking at that water, it's hard to imagine. But I know Steve Jackson in particular has a couple of areas where he said, boy, that really could work. But I mean, we need it designed and we need to identify it.
And unfortunately, we only had the historical data to work with before. So what you're talking about is right on. Before they would say, well, without having the actual event we just had, they only could go by Hurricane Hazel historical events. But since Hurricane Hazel, the bridges are wider and everything else. So now we've seen it.
Oh, there's been some
Now we've seen it with all those things changed, and we have a good handle on where, and he's saying it now because we've had that. We didn't have it before. We couldn't. So even though I was hoping we would get down to the point where we could figure out where a flood fringe plains were, up until we had that event, he was saying, no, we'd have to do that mapping, which when you talk about aerial mapping, what they do, and I thought, well, we have these drones now, just fly a drone, right? But aerial mapping actually, it's a minute, they fly over and they actually can see through the topographical right to inches. But it's a very highly costly thing to do. But then they would know exactly where every little is, and then they can throw that engineering, and I'm not a technonaut, but the engineering and those guys would then come up with an idea of how much rain would cause this to happen, that to happen. They have to have those stats. We didn't have them, but we have a better picture of them now. I mean, there was places in Harrison I thought would be supposed to have been flooded according to our thought process that weren't. Other places I never thought of were.
Yes.
And I never drove around. I mean, I drove around the back roads, and there was water in places I've never seen before. I've never seen them. So some of our drains, we didn't hold them or whatever. So it was kind of a weird situation to see it. I was 4 when Hurricane Hazel came by, and I seem to have visions of it, but I can't remember exactly the
I've seen
detail.
pictures. I wasn't here yet.
No, you know. Anyways, Ron.
So when they say they can deal with this flooding, will they just
No.
spread?
I'm not saying they can fix it.
Somewhat. The idea would be to narrow the flooding instead of having a great big flood in some areas. It may narrow all through it, so it'll be smaller flooding everywhere.
What I believe is up above Harrison, there's places where they may create holding areas. You know, so it would flood back into a farmer's field necessarily, but that might be once every 20 years or whatever. And you could work on that. And then on the other side of on the other side of Harrison, getting it away quicker from our drainage and other things that come into the river, try to get it away, Ron. So those are the 2 items that I think that he feels that there could be some. It's never going to solve the problem. If we have another one of those 160, we're going to still get floods.
Oh, one of those flood events, or that much rainfall in that short a time?
Yeah.
We're not going to fix that problem.
It was 102 hours that killed us. Spread it over a whole day, it wouldn't have been so bad. But we'll get a full report on that. It'll be coming out. But I think going forward, we got to keep pushing wherever we can and get things done. Now, if I'm right, if Dietrich gets the report done in the fall, we'll be looking at doing the actual work in the spring, Mike, or is that how it usually?
For the construction of any of these,
the ones we've been working on.
These ones here, there's a possibility, but it's going to depend on contractor availability and DFO and
that would be their
CA
hope,
approvals and their timeline. So, yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Motion to accept the report. Councillor Caldwell, Deputy Mayor Faulkner, all in favor? Looking forward for more reports coming forward. We get them. But I hopefully if one message gets out there that I think CEO White was talking about is if farmers have a chance, get out and check some of those drains and let us know as soon as possible, because we're going to have to fight that battle with the province because that's going on their own personal costs. And we need to make sure that we get those reports in as soon as we can. And so we can show that there's enough damage that we can get on the program. Thanks.
I just would want you to repeat, because I will admit I didn't know myself. When you said they're not municipal drains and we can't just go out and fix them.
Right.
I think that's what I heard more than anything.
Well, I want to get that out more and more because I think that's the problem. We don't have control over them. It's under the Drain Act, which was 1885 or whatever it was developed. And those, we do some of the administration of it, but we have to hire the engineer and whatnot, but everybody has to pay their portion in. So everybody that's affected by that drain has to have meetings, has to go through it. It's very if anybody's been at one of them, and I'm sure people in this room have, it's not doesn't run real smooth. But at the end of the day, it's the only way I think they've ever would have been able to fix water problems to get enough people. Like you see, some of these drains have probably 60, 70 people on them. And so all those people have to get together in a room.
Fishers.
That's a long one, dredge, yeah. And I don't know how many would be at your meeting, Harold, like 50 maybe people might be affected. So, but not all of them would come, but some of them would come. And so you have to get through, and they all have an opportunity to object then they have to get a costing, and then their share, and then all that. It's
Even for a small minor repair.
yeah, we can't go out there and touch it.
That's good information.
Yeah.
Could I ask Mr. Fisher a question? How far east does that drain go?
I'm not even sure that.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought maybe you might know.
It's into the maintenance, and the width of the maintenance is the same width before it enters as upstream. So it doesn't mind the maintenance. And that's stuff. You walk to the bush, and back in 2005, and this plan was, let's see the maintenance, and let's go out 15 inches and dig it out, and so the flood gets more, the water can get through. Now, that was a good plan, but that was back in 2005. And way.
Yeah, and a little bit of it is, Harold, on that, and I don't want to get into debate today because there'll be more opportunities on this. But a little bit of it is Conservation Authority that we have to deal with. And so, but I guess we now have another thing showing where there is a problem. Maybe this is one of the ones they may look at for us, but they have to go through that.
It's my wish that is a main problem, the water not getting through here.
Yeah.
We actually called the meeting back in 2001. With Nathan Valley, Judy was there representing Thompson, and basically Nathan Valley said, "We can't do it."
Yeah.
And it's just,
And with this has been going on for 3 years, and we've been working with them, and with Steve being off, we're hoping to get back to the table on that. Totally. I think there's maybe an answer there.
I think.
Anyways, okay. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, now what do we got?
Back.
What do we?
Site plan.
Oh, site plan. We got the site plan here. Yep.
So it's a site plan approval for North Wellington Co-op at 56 Margaret Street. You guys are all probably fairly familiar with the location. The proposal is for a new storage warehouse for their fertilizer mixing and processing facility. It's going to have 6 times the capacity as across the street, which might sound alarming at first. Currently, the fertilizer storage and mixing takes place across the street at 59. I'm not sure how clear that is on the screen there, but basically to the north or to the top of the image. Currently, I guess most of the time, or so I've heard from other staff, this facility, because of the size of it, they have a lot of trucks coming in and out, and currently they're parked on the road. So the proposal for 6 times the amount of storage will allow them flexibility to get their products delivered not so frequently and as needed in the off season. So it should be an improvement to their actual process. That being said, there are some concerns that staff had about the application needing clarification. So I kind of touched on it a bit, but if you go over to, perfect. The existing chemical storage building, so that's an actual existing building on site. So basically this building is an addition to that building, basically encasing it. And then the proposed warehouse and extent, there's actually going to be an expansion of that existing chemical storage, both to the top and bottom of that. So in this case, I guess I'll start with building, but the project generally conforms with the zoning. There's a site-specific zoning on the northern portion of this property to allow the storage of fertilizer associated with this shipping and receiving going on site already. So really there isn't a concern from that aspect. But Public Works, there's a lot going on site there as far as what's underground, and there's a lot of unknowns there. They've had issues in the past where our Public Works staff has went out and cameraed, and they can't really deal with those issues without knowing where some of these drains go. They could be old tile drains. We're not really sure. So as a condition of the site plan approval, we would like them, we know and they know that they're going to hit stuff underground when they dig for this building, and they're not going to know what it is. So we're asking them for confirmation of any drains or any servicing for that matter that they have to cap or reroute, and drawings of that, where they're coming from and where they go, so that we have a better understanding of what's going on site. In case there are future problems. So that's a general comment. So that's existing infrastructure, basically. Other concerns that staff have are traffic patterns. Obviously, this large building is going to create a more defined or regulated space where traffic can be, and there's a lot going on site there with all the hydro wires along the street and that kind of thing. So that's a general condition as well. Bill actually spoke directly with Kelly in relation to the hydro lines and the possible installation of some curbing and that kind of thing to regulate traffic. So those details also still have to be worked out. In relation to fire and emergency management, this property is a high-risk property. Because I'm guessing because of the chemical storage, primarily there's a specific risk safety management plan in relation to the propane, which regulates that because of its explosive properties. But there's also a fire safety plan in relation to the chemical storage. So the existing chemical storage has a diking system that has the capacity to hold the chemicals, but not the water to protect in the event of a fire. So the fire safety plan requires the fire department to protect only buildings, to basically leave the chemical storage alone and protect any exposed building faces from the other buildings, basically so that that diking system can work properly and contain those chemicals. So both those plans, I talked to Linda because Chris was on holidays, but when Chris got back, he said he'd like those plans redone because obviously now that the chemical storage is contained within another area of the building, things are going to have to change there. Also, this site is protected under source water protection. This report, I think this report says that a notice must be issued as a condition of site plan approval. A risk management plan has been established since and was signed by the landowner and our RMO. So that condition has been addressed already. Also, we wanted to make a general comment that it's the landowner's responsibility basically to ensure that all higher approvals have been met. I think I covered all of them now. Sorry, give me a minute. Yes. Oh, and condition number 5, the bulk fertilizer operation across Margaret Street is decommissioned and converted to storage. So basically we're saying if we're going to let you expand your fertilizer storage, we want to see the one with the higher risk and the smaller capacity decommissioned. So I'm not going to read it. I hope that's okay. Unless you want me to. Okay.
Mayor Bridge, I probably haven't seen a more complicated project for a site in an urban area in a very, very long time. So I think Stacy did an excellent job summarizing it. There's a lot of issues there, from the potential volatility of some of the stuff to traffic and impact on drains and source water and fire protection and emergency management. But we're recommending that the plan be approved with various conditions. And fire chief is here in case you have any questions on that end of things. As mentioned, I did speak to Mr. Boyle about some of our thoughts about traffic and hydro poles and the way trucks move and so forth. And we believe that this will represent an improvement, but it will be a very imposing building when it is built, and there'll be a lot going on there. And I think it's emblematic of an active agricultural community, but it's important that these things be looked at. It is in the center of our community and center of this particular area, and we want to make sure that it's safe, and I know that they do as well.
Sorry, I missed one thing. Can I just say it first? I'm sorry. Can you go back to the site map, the black and white one? So another big concern that we had is that so the trucks are basically come in and drop off the bulk product in a pit, and there's no coverage to the pit or anything, or any kind of plan that they may have a plan, but they haven't allowed us to see it. So we want communication of that plan of the best management practices and the operational procedure, how that's going to work, especially because of like rainfall and that kind of thing. If they're dropping dry product and then it rains and it's flowing right into our catch basin, which I think part of that is the curbing that maybe Bill's getting into, but they're going to provide us with those details too. Sorry, I missed that before.
All right, I think Mary Lou, and then I'll work the way around.
Just one quick question, and it's ironic that you brought up number 5 because that was my question. The bulk fertilizer operation across from Market Street is decommissioned, but there's no timeline. Do you think we should put in a timeline as to when that has to be done?
The site plan approval process has a completion timeline associated with it.
Oh, it does. Okay.
If we probably could have that timeline decreased for that specific condition, could we, Bill?
Yes.
On completion or occupancy of the building?
Because it's one of those things that you say, well, this has to be done, but unless you say it has to be done within a year of the building.
Are you thinking, Mary Lou, like I'm thinking, is that you would, when you open up the other one, then that one has to be, like, once you're not using that one for fertilizer, we're not having two fertilizers.
They've got to do some work to prepare it for just a storage unit.
True.
Yeah. True. Usually,
but you can decommission it right away for use for fertilizer.
Yeah. True. But would it still be an at-risk building if it was just decommissioned? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I did have a discussion with Mr. Boyle about that, and he led me to believe and has every intention of converting it. So I don't think having a time frame in there is a problem. But I would want to work with them just to make sure we didn't impose something that they couldn't meet. But we're comfortable putting those kinds of times in there, and I think they would be too.
I have several concerns about this, and maybe I could address some of them to Chief Harrow. Do you have concerns about the chemicals, and are they going to do something to store things separately? I'm thinking you're talking firewalls. Like, I'm not comfortable authorizing this right now. I want them to come. Like, I want to know what those plans are, not just say that they're going to draw plans. I think we need to know. When you think of the potential chemicals they have there and the potential interactions, what about our risk to firefighters and town employees? I'd like to hear more about what they're going to do rather than just say they're going to come up with something, or have town staff approve every step of it before it goes into place, like have Chief Harrow involved and everybody else. You're talking some pretty major chemicals there. They have a lot of chlorine. Chlorine gas is deadly if it escapes. There's just some real concerns.
So to answer your question, there is plans in place now. Because they do have that stuff on site now.
Right.
So they're just increased. So there is plans on site that we've approved, yearly approvals for their plan now. So is it ideal to have a facility like this in town? No, but it's here and we're dealing with it. Because we do have the 3 major risk factors that CAO White said. We have fuel, gas, diesel. We have oil, we have propane, and we have fertilizer. So we've got all 3. But we work with them with the plans, and the reason, and Stacy did do a great job. They have plans for each of the different divisions: the fuel, the fertilizer, chemicals, and then also the propane. What we just want problem is like a lot of things is they're silos, so each of the plans really don't talk to each other. So we want the plans to talk to each other. So which plan supersedes the other plan? so that if there is an incident, which plan actually does take effect and which one do we follow. So those are all already in place, and we'll continue to work with them through this to make sure it addresses the increased storage there. So
So are you comfortable? Like, I understand you wouldn't put us at risk, but you just go the amount of chemical there, and if something leaked in the midst of one, as you say, if you're dealing with one area, if you're dealing with petroleum, but all of a sudden you've got a chlorine gas leak or chlorine mixing in with, you just go, you're talking major trauma out there.
we have talked, and in the other, because there is so many plans that come out of that place, there is plans for evacuations and that, because that's our concern. Is it's not really our safety. Our safety is we stand back.
Right.
But the safety is to do an evacuation area. So that is addressed in our plan and in our emergency plan to say if there's an incident. They are very, very regulated with this, so they have to have that part thing too, and they have to have mechanisms in place on how to alert people in the area that if they have an incident, how they're going to help evacuate. It's not just up to us; it's up to them too. So that will all be addressed further as it already is. So.
I would assume that as they go along site plan approvals, they wouldn't be able to move on with the project if the site plans weren't in place. If the plans weren't in place as they moved along, if their buildings weren't built the proper way, or whatever, the evacuation program wasn't put in effect, you wouldn't be allowed to move on with the program or with it as the approvals would be met through the project. Correct?
That's right. We want to fulfill all of these conditions, not just emergency management. And to maybe make your mind at ease, they are very good at self-regulation in relation to spills and all that kind of stuff. I've been on site and met with Kelly and seen some of their documents. So at a smaller level, obviously public safety is the biggest one, but they do have to meet, to answer your question, Ron, yes, they do have to meet all those conditions prior to us giving them approval in a building permit.
Well, I was just going to make the comment that this is such a huge improvement over what they're doing now, and in the building where they're doing it, it's really huge. And the as far as the chemical storage goes, it's I don't even know if they have chlorine there. It's more, since that's the one you're worried about. It's their farm chemicals for. I don't even know if chemical is the right terminology. It's probably it's pesticides and herbicides and that kind of thing, right? Anyways, I'm just happy to see that it's such an improvement, because I think the building that they're working in now, mixing fertilizer, is pretty scary.
Very old.
I agree with Councillor Dirksen. I think this is going to be a huge improvement to the current status. Please correct me. I thought I knew where it was, but the previous complication with the place across the road that is currently being used was the unloading of the product, and because they would have to park all the way across Margaret Street in order to unload that. Where's the unloading chute on this diagram?
Okay, do you see the proposed building that's gray there at the top on the left? So to the right side of that, there's going to be a pit to the bottom right side of that, towards where the actual warehouse is right now in the retail store. There's like
Where that long line
there.
is?
Yeah, do you want me to get up and...
Right, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, the long line.
Okay. That's where the conveyor belt that's where they'll unload, is what I understand. So they'll pull in from this side, the west side, or whatever side you want to call that, the north, and they'll go around the building, and any of the loading trucks will actually be at the truck scale at the top of the image there, so closest to the street. So that's where they'll load.
They'll load there, but they're all
they'll weigh there, and then they'll go and unload down the bottom.
Well, they weigh when they leave. It's my understanding. Please forgive me, but they weigh when they leave whatever facility they're shipping from, and then they unload here. And then when they pick up material here, it's different trucks that are picking up the material. Those are the ones that will weigh when leaving. So that's two different.
Okay. Any other comments? I just say I kind of agree with some of the comments. I'm concerned as Councilor Anderson is to make sure it's a safe site. Thing for sure. The one advantage is and Councilor Dirksen's talked about it. There is some limitations. What they've got now. They've got all three things there now, and we have plans in place. This will bring them into one spot, and we have an opportunity to really tighten up the thing a little bit, I think. And even from a traffic control and everything else. And so I think it's got some pluses there. And I think CEO White talked about the fact that agriculture is a big part of our economy, and this is, and we used to have a major factory there, and that's why that site's still there. And I'm a little kind of backers, but the co-op has always been very good corporate citizens, so I think they will comply with anything we want to make sure that we're safe as best we can. And again, good job on this. This is a very complex. I'm with the CEO White. I've never seen one quite this complex before. So,
well, Bill did help me. So,
yeah,
along with all the other staff, I must say.
Yeah. So I think we're moving forward, and the recommendation is anybody want to move that? I think it's down there. I think the reason that we have to kind of go forward with this right now, is that they want to get going as soon as possible on this, and that's why you're leaving it up to us to make sure we cover off all the things that you guys talked about. But we will, before we give any approvals.
I think with the lack of the council meeting and
we don't have a council meeting, so that was why
I'll move.
By Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councilor Dirksen. All in favor? Okay, thank you. And you're on the you get to do the good news story.
Left me on a whim here.
Yeah, I know.
He wasn't feeling well, so. Monthly report.
Monthly report.
June, we did see a lot of permits. A lot of residential permits primarily. Sorry, I'm blind. 26 permits issued this last month, 1.4 million compared to 24 last year with 2.4 million. But we did see a high spike earlier in the year, so so we're up to 121 permits year to date, 32% higher than last year with 119% of the construction value. Highlights include this must be some property standard stuff. He's been quite busy with that this month, I must say. Can you see him?
What's with the dog?
What did the dog do?
I can give you the story. You want to give the story of the dog?
Yeah, give the story.
Give the story of the dog, Bill, if you want.
If I'm not mistaken, that dog kind of roams my neighborhood from time to time, and I see him. He's a fairly friendly dog, but I know Mr. Forbes had been trying to contain the animal for a few weeks, and when he was away on vacation, the chief building official managed to capture him. So
there's a bit of an interesting internal story on that.
Right. And I think
Cam's not happy about
to
that.
the right there, that says industrial park too. Maybe.
And one of those pictures is the house on Victoria Street that's been removed. Remember we had the fire?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure about the car and the other storage, but
the other one was a bylaw infraction with the non-storage of the backyard. I think he went in.
And the car has no license on it.
Yeah.
In case anyone's worried, the dog is back with its
he's back
appropriate
with
owner.
And
a valuable dog, apparently.
Fairly large bill.
Isn't it?
It's not one of those. It's something else.
No,
it's not.
It's a breed I never heard of, but it sounds very expensive to me.
Anyways, it does like to wander, and it's not really vicious, but it looks vicious. But it's the owners now had a fairly large bill, so maybe I'll keep them under control.
Yeah, I think, is that the one that was like escaping all the time
Yep.
out of the house?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Out of the house?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it would jump out windows onto the porch roof and then get out and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
there
I
was
know.
crazy stories associated with
It wasn't.
That's just no ordinary dog.
No.
I don't think the owner himself, like it's. Yeah, like
He should be in events.
Yeah, he's an escape artist. That's what I say. So it's. But I guess they'll have to figure it out.
Maybe they need a girlfriend for him.
I don't know.
Maybe
why
he
he's
has
gotta-
one. Maybe that's the issue.
I think it's a Mickey MacArthur dog.
Maybe that's why he's got a logging chain on him.
All right.
So you can
It's
see
not
our
fixed.
number of permits far exceeds our 10-year average still.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the value of the permits associated with, I would say probably that's primarily barns and industrial sites. Any questions? I know we had 3 large industrial buildings issued this month, so.
They're starting to build in
And then
Palmerston.
there's,
Okay.
I think there's at least 3 either additions or new barns.
Mhm.
And one of them is quite large. So. Any questions? I'll try to answer.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you. Motion to accept the stats. Councilor Anderson, Councilor Caldwell, all in favor? Hey, and I think we're done. No, no, sorry.
CEO clerk.
No, it's one of
Missed the big one.
Bill's
The big
purchasing
one.
bylaw. Oh, it's a big one. Okay. I thought we were done.
Yeah, 5 minutes, Bill.
It's okay, Mayor Bridge. It's only the culmination of 3 years' work.
Sorry.
We'll just gloss over that.
We might have another hour yet to go here. Okay, go ahead, CEO.
Seems every time I bring a bylaw, it's near the end of the meeting, and
I
we're
know.
all ready to
So happy to see
move on. So
We're gonna have to do something about that agenda order.
I guess I'll just say, not summarize that whole report, but just tell you that the bylaw now has had legal review, and the amended bylaw that you would adopt is in compliance with the current law, and has been worded and reworded by the lawyer, and appreciate the input. It wasn't dramatic, the changes that were made, but important ones to make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and the authorities are correct, and we have all the right references. So that's been done, and you'll start to see, if you approve this bylaw tonight, you'll start to see things come back in a slightly different form. But we're now dealing up to 10,000. The CAO and treasurer may approve a sole source purchase. Then we do informal quotes up to 10,000 as well, and then formal quotes are from 10,000 to 50,000, and then anything over 50 would be tender or quotations, detailed quotations, depending on whether you can define what's being purchased. And there's a lot more control in here. There's references to environmental goals and persons with disability having access to the purchasing procurement system, so forth. So I think it has been a lot of work and a lot of people involved with it, and it's finally time to bring it forward for your approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Councilor Caldwell.
The only thing I looked real clearly and didn't see was purchase orders. Is there anything in?
Yes, so there is. There is a section. I thought of you when I wrote it. It's section 4.0C. And it says, upon approval of a policy requiring purchase requisitions and before purchasing goods or services over 10,000 in value, department heads shall complete an electronic purchase requisition form for approval by the CAO clerk. And then it would become a purchase order after that. But the intent is to do it all electronically, and we're not quite there yet.
Right.
But
is there dollar value? I'm sorry.
It's over 10,000.
Over 10,000. Perfect. Okay.
In the bylaw, but yeah,
I probably missed it, but local purchasing, is that involved in it?
Right. So there was local purchasing specifically mentioned, and that is one thing that the lawyer cautioned against, being very specific on. But essentially for things that are sold by lots of people, for example, office supplies, this bylaw will allow us just to select a local purchaser for that. So it's allowed for under that. And also for the credit card purchasing, it talks about making sure that these are for maintenance and operational things. So that will be primarily through local people as well. But he actually took out some of the more obvious wording that says it shall be local, and just said there is certain legislation that would prevent you from being that specific on it. I can tell you the name of it if I look here. So he recommended that Business Practices Act, Discriminatory Business Practices Act. So to make sure that we comply with that. So we do have provisions to make sure a lot of our smaller purchases are local.
Okay.
Anything else? And all kidding aside, Bill, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work on this, and I know Councillor Caldwell is really happy about having those purchase orders.
I was.
And I'm
When I did anything
I
on
know,
the agenda.
and it's great to have them in there, and I think that we've got a lot more control over our purchasing. And about the local, I know we try to go local when we can, but again, I knew we were kind of, unless we're Donald Trump and we can maybe do buy American only, which I'm not sure he can do that legally either. So we'll have to wait and see what
Who
happens.
wants to be Donald Trump?
I know. But anyways, I think it's a good combination of what you've done over the years and bring it back to. It's nice it was finally done before the lame duck. There we are. They're done. Any other comments? All right, motion to accept. Council Caldwell, you want to do that, I imagine. Council Anderson, all in favor? Great. And I think that was it. You did the drainage.
No, there's a zoning.
We have a zoning.
Yes. No, yes. Medical marijuana.
All right, then.
Yep. Don't be rushing me, Bill.
Don't be buzzing. Don't be buzzing through.
And we haven't approved the accounts.
We're going to do that, but that's after this one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mayor Bridge, members of council, we did have a report last meeting from the Economic Development and Planning, Business and Economic Development Manager about the offer, conditional offer to purchase on these lands. As you may recall, with the shrimp proposal, it was similar. We had to initiate a zoning bylaw amendment under the Planning Act to facilitate this particular project. So this report is just a preliminary report to get your direction to proceed with that formally. Obviously, there will be a separate planning report done by the county staff and an opportunity for the public to have input on the proposed rezoning. So this just lays out the current zoning of the property, where it's situated, some of the issues that might come forward, and recommends that we initiate the Planning Act procedure. And it'll probably be sometime in September that we would have the public meeting.
Motion. Councillor Elliott, Deputy Mayor Faulkner, all in favor? Good. And I'll turn it over to Councillor Caldwell with Gord so he can defend his spending.
Some things are indefensible.
Yeah. Oh, it's smaller this month.
I know. He was on holidays.
The Finance Committee only has one item on the agenda tonight, and that's the approval of accounts. I'll turn it over to Treasurer Duff.
Okay, thank you, Chair Caldwell. And our biggest thing is old spending, because our biggest thing is a $202,000 debt repayment. So we're paying for past sins. Yeah, do that. And we've, again, a lot of zoning and engineering work in the economic development area, about $7,000 there. And at the arenas, they're very busy, about $40,000 in flooring at the Palmerston Arena, getting all their things. And we always seem to have some kind of an issue with the pool, so we had an $8,000, Band-Aid repair, whatever. We'd love to build a new one, but anyway.
I don't know why it's supposed to be summer. Wouldn't they heat themselves? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, up until this week, no. This week, maybe, yeah. And,
Cool nights.
yeah. And again, about another $11,000 in washroom partitions. So those are the main highlights for this time. So, questions?
Before we approve this, I just wanted to mention, is it just me, or are we still getting the accounts payable?
Whenever
I think we've had out for a while.
Lindsay's, yeah, I would say don't expect in the next couple of weeks, but
Okay.
when she gets back, I think she did a catch up, but that was maybe about 6
I
weeks
don't
ago.
think I've seen anything since April. Was it April?
Yeah,
Something like that.
April.
I'll remind her, but
Okay.
she'll be back next week.
Okay. Thank you.
For honeymoon.
Does anyone have any? I call it myself.
Yes, you can speak.
You're in charge.
Okay, the recommendation is the council receives the treasurer's report dated July 28, 2017 regarding approval of accounts and approves the town of Minto accounts by department for June and July. Let's make that motion, please. Councilor Dirksen, seconded by Mayor Bridge. All in favor?
There you go.
And it's approved, and I turn the chair back to Mayor Bridge.
Thank you, Brenda.
Yeah, well, additional items.
Just more additional items. Yes. Oh, yes. Well, I had a few, but mine are all gone. But I have a nice one. Anyways, who wants to start? Additional items? Did you, Mary?
Well, mine was kind of mentioned, but I'll just re-mention it because it's important. The Chamber of Commerce Barbecue is at John Cox on Thursday, April 17th, the day after we get back from Emo, 6 p.m.
Right.
Bring your skitter stuff.
Next, this is really exciting for me, and I'm going to read this because I just don't want to mess up. The OPA and IPM 2016, Anneleen, Gord, Walter Traxel, Vice Chair, and myself, and we finalized and exchanged checks, and the financial is finished. I'm so relieved, and it was not an easy process. I credit, I want to say a special thank you to Vice Chair Walter, Gord, Duff, Mayor Bridge, CAO White, CAO Wilson. Oh, sorry. After CAO White and Mayor Bridge, the town of staff and fantastic, and the Wellington County CAO Wilson and all the Wellington County staff for and all the volunteers for and I can say this officially, a tremendously successful event. And thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody. That's it.
Thank you, Ron.
I hope that's the last time I have.
I thought you had something to read. Oh, you did read it.
I had a little thing there.
Okay.
Did Judy or did you had something?
Yep. Just a reminder about the Clifford Homecoming, and they are still looking for volunteers, or they were. So if anybody's got some spare time, they were looking for people, I think mostly to do security on the Sunday and Monday was the biggest gap that we were notified of. But I know David and I are going to get for most of the week. So if anybody's in, if you're not volunteering, come on out and enjoy.
So one thing that we all hopefully will be there for is the parade. No, maybe not everybody. So I believe we are to meet at 11 a.m. And have we discussed, are we wearing something?
Well, that was one of my things.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right, no. But we can talk about that in a minute. Yeah, let's put that.
So we should probably
meet at Whiteman Telecom. Is that where we meet?
No.
It's at the
across the road.
Oh, at WC Smith?
Yep.
No.
No, I have to look.
Across the road would
We'll
be trailer.
get back to you that. I was going to talk about that today, and we'll get the actual clarification, get a letter out to you, so that you don't have to remember.
Anyways, yes.
And what we're going to do as far as, I thought I'd wear shirts for sure.
Yeah, I think everything, we should definitely have shirts on, yep.
The girls.
Even the guys.
I'm, everything that I had in mind was really already mentioned during the meeting. So.
But we'll talk about that.
Good.
Ron?
Just last Saturday, I went to WA 75th anniversary.
Oh yes, that was on. Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite an event. I'm thinking 400 or 500 people were there for the banquet. I was at a golf tournament in the afternoon. But two local people were presented with Builders Award to honor the 75th, and one was Eldon McLaughlin, as many or most of you should know. He pretty well took care of minor sports and senior sports in Palmerston for years and years. So in memory, that isn't the proper word, but
posthumously.
Posthumous. Thank you very much. His son Doug and his wife came and received the award on his behalf. It's a big plaque or a big scroll with a picture of Eldon on it, and we're hanging it in our clubhouse for a couple months, and maybe with permission of Doug, we may see if it would hang in the local arena. The second person that got the Builders Award was Wayne Martin, which we all know very well.
Thanks, Wayne.
And Wayne's done a tremendous amount of work with minor sports of both hockey and with the amalgamation of Minto minor hockey from Palmerston, Harrison, Clifford. He was one of the builders of that. Imperial ball teams, from kids Imperial ball teams, minor sports, minor hockey, you name it, Wayne's been involved in, and now he's involved in the coming event, the Pee Wee National Championships. Wayne also got recognized that night too, and it was quite an evening, and very proud of the fact that we have local people as awarded that. Pike Lake Lions Club nominated Wayne, and Palmerston Lions Club nominated.
Yep. Yes. It's only summer club.
Yes, only summer club.
They got a charter to meet for 6 months of the year, I think.
Yes, I was actually governor.
I remember that. You put them in. Yeah. Anyways, because they all go south. There's nobody there. Very good. One thing I just want to mention: the Mayor's Golf Tournament is coming up on the 10th. We have 32 teams, looking good. I think we've had great 3 groups, and they've come up with some good sponsorship. So I think we'll be able to give everybody great return on their investment, their time and efforts. So that's good. And then the other thing I was going to ask, and thanks for Councilor Durst to bring it up, was how many people are going to be at the Clifford Parade? I am just the 3, 4. Okay. Now there's. I know you're away, right? And Dave Turton, I think, said Dave would be there as well. So there's 2 options. We talked once about little train as an option. That could be a little difficult to get it up and back on. I don't know, Mike, and if that's a possibility. Okay. The other option would be to decorate one of our trucks like we usually go at the Palmerston Parade or the Harrison Santa Claus Parades, and probably one of our utility trucks. That would be the other option. So which would you prefer?
I won't do the train.
You like the train?
I like the train too.
The truck will be tricky for me to get up.
Never thought of it, Gene. Good point. Okay, so I'll coordinate with Mike to get the train up there, and we'll coordinate that. And I would suggest we wear our Minto. Everybody got one of the Minto shirt, and you haven't got one? Okay. Minto jacket might be a little hot.
I can give you my shirt, Gene.
It's quite all right.
Well, whatever, or a hat or whatever.
I'll wear a shirt.
Wear a shirt. Everybody wear a shirt. Honest to goodness, we want everybody with a shirt on. Now I don't know. Do we want to? Are they going to do candy or whatever? Do you think it's?
Oh yeah, it'll be somebody's turn.
So we should get candy. I will get the candy. You want me to get the candy? That's probably my turn.
What's that, Chief?
Okay, I was going to ask you. You have to walk to hand it out.
All right, there you go.
I wondered about that because they might have come up with a different rule, and I didn't remember hearing it for this one. Or anymore.
Is that for all parades from now on?
That is the rule at all parades, yes.
I think that's been the rule for a while.
Okay, because we have to know. Yeah, okay. That's so.
I think it's because we kept hitting people before.
Well, I mean, we were bad throwers, I can tell you.
It's all over the road.
I thought that's
nowhere near the sidewalk.
Okay, so
I don't
what?
mind I don't mind walking.
Well, we
can trade off.
We can trade off. Nice if we use the train that's quite open to get on and off. I mean, we'll be stopping. It's going to be a long parade.
2 people, one on each side.
Yeah. You want? Okay, so I will just get some buckets and we'll work on that. Okay.
All right. Right. And
I'm not.
I know we've always. I might speak to that. No. We've always individually bought candy for that, but maybe being as this is a homecoming for Clifford, that the town should spring for the candy.
Oh, I'll be fine. Let me get it.
Do you think you can make it? Okay,
I'll get it.
Yeah, really, we don't have to buy it very often.
No. All right, and we need to have the little. You got the name things for the council. They're out in the shop, right? They say season greetings on them? I don't think they do. They said no, just
Town of Minto
Town of Minto
Council.
Council.
Yes.
Greetings from Town of Minto Council or something. That's fine. All right. Okay, so that's good. We'll be good at that, and that's all I have.
And you'll let us know where.
Yeah, we'll send out we'll get all that information for you. Yeah. Moved by Councilor Dirksen, second by Councilor Caldwell. The Committee of the Whole convenes a regular council meeting. All in favor? Great.
Sorry.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councilor Anderson. The Council of the Town of Minto ratifies motions made in Committee of the Whole. All in favor? You guys didn't get your hands up, but I know these two didn't. I know, but thank goodness we had enough votes. Moved by Councilor Cole, second by Councilor Elliott, the bylaw number 2017-63 to establish policies and procedures respecting the procurement of goods and services for the town of Minto. Introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed open council and seal of corporation. All in favor? On that one. Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councilor Dirksen, the bylaw number 2017-64 temporarily closed roads in Harrison on September 17, 2017 for a community event. We introduced and read first, second, and third time and passed open council and seal of the corporation. All in favor? That's for you know what that's for?
Great.
No, it's
that's
for
the
the
soapbox derby.
Soapbox derby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
You haven't got your soapbox done?
Get at it.
Moved by,
Started building it yet?
moved by Councilor Anderson, second by Councilor Caldwell. The bylaw number 2017-65 for purposes of amending bylaw number 500005, a bylaw to regulate the parking or stopping of vehicles on highways, public parking lots within the town of Minto be introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed open council, seal of corporation. All in favor? Great. Moved by Councilor Elliott, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. The bylaw number 2017-66 to permit the overall responsible operator to establish water restrictions in any municipal water system within the town of Minto to prohibit non-essential water users use be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed open council and seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councilor Dirksen, second by Councilor Anderson. The bylaw number 2017-67 to confirm actions of the Council of the Corporation of Town of Minto respecting a meeting held August 1st, 2017 be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed on council, seal of the corporation. All in favor? Okay. And moved by Councilor Caldwell, second by Councilor Elliott. The Council of the Town of Minto adjourned to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor? Thanks for a good meeting, everybody.